Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the Global Community for Adult Survivors of Complex Trauma. Anyone who is an adult living with CPTSD symptoms. A lot of what we discuss on this channel is uh, CPTSD symptoms which are present in our lives now as an adult as a result of childhood trauma. Perhaps you um, were raised in an alcoholic home or a dysfunctional home or an abusive home. And now here you are, you're an adult and you're 10, 20, 30, 40 years later down the road, and you're struggling in your relationships. Your relationships, you find that you aren't experiencing the level of connectedness you want in your relationships, or maybe your finances are affected. Maybe your spiritual relationship with your spirituality, your faith, your belief system, you're struggling in that area. Maybe you're struggling occupationally, and you keep, you know, there's a self-sabotage thing that keeps going on. Like, you're sabotaging yourself. You're missing out on promotions, or maybe, you're just dissatisfied with your work situation, or maybe it's your physical health. Maybe you're struggling with, you really want to make changes, like with diet and exercise, or maybe eating like whole foods versus processed foods, and there's just this self-sabotage sort of repetition compulsion, these things that just keep happening over and over and over again. And it's like every area of your life, you're like, what's going on? And maybe it's your mental and emotional health that you're kind of like frustrated with, or you're struggling with, or you've started, Googling or looking up books on emotional flashbacks, or is this PTSD? Is it possible for things to to affect me years down the road, even if I never was involved in any type of combat? It's like I'm traumatized, but I don't think I lived through any trauma. What's going on with me? And you're sort of wondering what's going on, and there's just this level of hypervigilance, or you're feeling like you're anxious, or you're kind of spacey and dissociative, or you have feelings of unsafety, feelings of confusion, and it's just this big, you're feeling overwhelmed all the time, like you can't get anything done. So I'm not saying that if all of those things resonate with you, that you're living with CPTSD symptoms, but a lot of the adult survivors of childhood trauma out there are experiencing all those things, one or all, maybe a few or many or all of the things I just mentioned. And we've all been sort of coming here and hanging out together, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday, almost every single Monday. I've missed a few for sure because I've been like sick here and there. People, I go off for, graduations or weddings or funerals, or I'm sick or something happens. But for the most part, that's what we do. We all come together, we hang out together, and we realize we're not alone. And one of the symptoms and things that we find that a lot of us experience is this thing called cognitive dissonance. And I thought it would be really helpful if I sort of explained briefly what cognitive dissonance even is. That way we're like, well, what is this? Like, I don't even understand what this is, this cognitive dissonance thing. So, like, statistically, or even just, you know, if you were to talk literally, like the most basic explanation of what cognitive dissonance is, it's when we hold in one hand one truth or thought or belief or attitude, and then in our other hand, we hold a conflicting truth, thought, belief, or attitude. We really believe this one thing over in our left hand is the thing. Like, this is what we really believe. And it's the truth about a certain situation, or it's the thought that we feel we're most in alignment with. It's what we believe. It's 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 the goal, or it's this thing that we really feel strongly about. But yet over here in our right hand, this also feels really, really, really true. And yet they're in direct conflict with one another. And that causes a feeling that is so uncomfortable that we feel frozen and we're unsure and it's very confusing. And so what happens when we experience cognitive dissonance quite often is that we check out or we dissociate because it's painful to experience cognitive dissonance. So for instance, like if you're on Wikipedia, you'll see it says in the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort experienced by a person who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values. This discomfort is triggered by a situation in which a person's belief clashes with new evidence perceived by the person. So when we're children, since a lot of what we talk about on this channel has to do with our childhoods, we come out of the womb and we are scared, and then we are comforted by this other, the primary object, the other. And then we feel calm and we're not scared anymore. But then all of a sudden, the other maybe isn't there, or they're frequently not there. Or all of a sudden they're not comforting anymore. As we get older and older, maybe they become angry, maybe they become cold or distant. Maybe we have these memories of when we were really young, maybe in a high chair or a crib, or at a dinner table situation or whatever. And we start to realize that maybe these people in our lives that were supposed to be safe and comforting and good, they're kind of scary, or they're cold, or they're distant, or they're indifferent, or they fluctuate between kind and not so kind, or scary and then sometimes not so scary. And then that becomes very confusing. So on one hand, this is your family and you're raised maybe in an environment, depending on what country you're watching this video or listening to this broadcast in. Family is everything. Family's all you got. Your family. It's all about family. Or especially in the United States, where Hallmark has commercials, and there's always these commercials about Mother's Day. And what if your mother was distant and cold and scary and not so loving, but then sometimes she was, and so you're holding out hope that maybe that's what will happen. And so, or maybe if that doesn't resonate with you, a very simple example of cognitive dissonance is, like, in a theory of cognitive dissonance, there is a doctor, or a scientist rather. He offers an example of how an individual might deal with cognitive dissonance related to a health behavior by discussing individuals who continue to smoke cigarettes even though they know that cigarettes are bad for their health. Or, even more simply put, someone who decides to send a text message while they're driving, even though sending a text message while we're driving, we know that that is very, very, very dangerous, right? Or if you want to really drive it home for those of us who did grow up in a scary home, perhaps we want to believe. Oop. Or if you want to really drive it home for those of us who did grow up in a scary home. Oh, that was scary. That was actually scary to hear my own voice back at me. It's because this browser was open. So yeah, no more. I muted myself. Who needs to hear their own voice? My goodness. So if you really want to bring it home, and we want to talk about something scary, if you're a little kid and you want to believe that your family is like, safe and good, but then what if they're not safe and good? What if they're abusive? What if the person that's supposed to protect you and that you're supposed to feel safe with is not a protective figure? What if they are very abusive or neglectful? It's very, very, very confusing. And then even further, if the childhood thing doesn't bring it home for you, let's say you are in an adult intimate partner relationship and you come to realize, like Jeffrey, I'm sorry, Jackson McKenzie, not Jeffrey McKenzie, Jackson McKenzie, the author of Psychopath Free, which is who we've been talking about the last few weeks. We've been talking about his book, Psychopath Free. He talks about, which we're going to read in the book today, the cognitive dissonance um, in a relationship when you're with someone that you realize is narcissistically abusive or is showing traits of being predatory or toxic, or you're starting to recognize abuse for what it is, which is abuse. And you start realizing, wow, oh my goodness, I have been in this relationship with this person and they're not who I thought they were. They act this way, and then all of a sudden they're acting this way. And it can be very, very, very scary. So, really quickly, I want to just pause and say hello. I realize we're about 10 minutes in, but I just want to pause really quick, and you can fast forward through this if you're not here on the live stream. But I want to say hello to a whole bunch of our family, our friends in our family, our friendly family of choice, who are here. And let's see. So, hello to Pixie Painter. Hello to Anne. Hello to Declan. Hello to Hunter and Poppy. Special thank you to all of you who are here and you volunteer on the channel and you're part of the Blue Wrench crew and you help us block all the potato trolls. We're just really grateful for you. Hello to Jeffrey and Shannon and Tabby Ba and Farrell. And hey, James the Reviver, so happy to see you. I hope school's going good. Hello to Shanna and Stacy. And I know I'm missing some people. And Lance and Vi and John Harvey. And I know that there's more. Hey, Tracy. I said Shannon, right? Hello to Shannon. Hello to Ashley. So happy to see you. So happy to see each and every one of you. Really grateful to be here with all of you. And I said Tabby Bar, right? Who am I missing? Hey, Willow. Happy to see you. Hey, Nexus. Well, I think I might have gotten almost everyone. Those are just those of you I can see who are in the chat box. Really, really, really happy to be here with each and every one of you. Hello to Music Man. Hello, Victoria. Hello, Jana. Hey, Sharon. I've been thinking about you so much lately and praying for you. And I have two items that I'm thinking of possibly sending to you. And I will find a way to message you, or maybe you can email me. Because I'm just so excited. I'm excited for you, and I've just been thinking about you a lot. So, did I say hello to Miss Vi? Hello to Miss Vi. So happy to see you. Well, it's great. It's great to be here, you all. So I am going to, first of all, I know that I've said this a few times, but Jackson McKenzie, who's the author of the book Psychopath Free, he also has this other book that he wrote. That let me see. I forget the name of it. Let me just look. Let me look up the name of his new one. I think it's called like It's called Healing Whole. Let's see. It's called Whole Again. Not healed. Whole Again. Whole Again. Healing your heart and rediscovering your true self after toxic relationships. And the book that we're going to talk about today a little bit is called Psychopath Free. We've been talking about it the last couple days. Oh, James the Reviver says, I'm going to be honest, his second book is not nearly as great as the first. Well, that is good to know. I know his first book, Psychopath Free, is really, really good. It's been very helpful. This is my second time going through it. It's almost like when you get to go through something again, you know? Hello to John. Welcome, John. So happy to see you. Ooh, Sharon had her blood work, ultrasound. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're moving forward with medication. I'm so, so, so excited. That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. I'm excited for you. Hey, Miss Connie. I've been thinking about you. How are you feeling, Miss Vi? I've been thinking about you a lot. Hey, Angela. Okay, so I'm going to read. Okay, so if you weren't part of the live stream, that's okay. You can fast forward through like 5 minutes of me saying hi to everybody. I get a lot of hate mail about that, y'all. But, I just want to say hi to my family. So, Jackson McKenzie, I'm on page 170, starting at the bottom. And I'm just going to read what he talks about, where when the cognitive dissonance returns, you know, and it does return. It doesn't, go away for good forever. Like it can come back, right? So he says, the old saying that time heals all wounds. And that's true to an extent, but the problem with recovery progress is that it encourages you to forget about how bad things really were during the relationship. It's a healing mechanism for your heart, selective amnesia to protect you from the painful memories. You might find yourself thinking about forgiveness and meeting up with your ex for lunch or meeting up with your mom, meeting up with your brother or your sister or whoever, whoever the toxic, you know, abusive person was in your life, just to find some peace or maybe even some closure from the whole thing. He doesn't use the word closure, but like I am, because there's no such thing as closure with narcissistic and psychopathic and toxic people. And he says, don't make this mistake. You will just get dragged back into the same old mind games. You are only projecting your recovered state of happiness and optimism onto your memory of the relationship. Boom. That's a truth bomb right there. This is actually healthy because it helps to quell the racing thoughts. But you absolutely should not act on these improving moods. Take note of the progress and attribute it to your own efforts. Understand that you are feeling better because of your time spent away from the psychopath, not because you're ready to seek closure. Bringing them into your life again will only throw you back into the earlier stages. I will go into much greater detail about forgiving in the final chapter of this book, but for now, your only job is to continue no contact and treat yourself kindly. Yeah, Farrell. Farrell says, wow, so good. Projecting your current health onto the sick relationship. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Seriously. This is that. You actually should wait. Take note of the progress. You are only projecting your recovered state of happiness and optimism onto your memory of the relationship. Oh, so true. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, you guys. Oh, I feel so relieved that I'm not in that situation anymore. But I'm not saying that that could never happen to me again, because trust me, I can project some optimism and some happiness onto some other people. That is for darn sure. But like for right now, I'm not. So yeah, so we're going to move on to the next section that Jackson McKenzie talks about, bottom of page 171, and it talks about trauma and the two worlds. One of the most bizarre parts of recovery is feeling as if there are two yous, two versions of you. The cheerful, trusting soul from before the abuse, and then the abrasive, paranoid mess that you fear you've now become. But I think that there's something else going on here, he says. Instead of two yous, let's say there are two worlds. The material world that you see and hear every day, and then another one that you can feel only in your heart, a special connection with the universe and all beings. As kids, I think we're born with a natural link to both. But as we become socialized and grown up, we develop a stronger preference for the first. Slowly, our connection with the quiet world weakens. To make up for this, we begin to develop a powerful guard, something to keep us safe and confident in the world we've chosen. This guard takes care of our deepest insecurities, vanities, and failures. We learn to judge outwardly instead of perceiving inwardly. Things are comfortable. From day one, we are developing this guard, teaching us how to be strong. Strong, of course, being completely defined by the material world. And then, throughout the course of life, adversity wears away at our guard like sandpaper. Hardship, loss, heartbreak. Slowly, we rebuild this connection with the other world, gaining wisdom and a gentle compassion for the people around us. We look back at our younger selves in embarrassment, wondering how we could have been so obnoxious. At least that's how I imagine it goes. But trauma is different. Instead of sandpaper, don't miss this, you guys. He says, but trauma is different. Instead of sandpaper, the guard is shattered in a single moment. Whatever the damage, your guard is not nearly enough to save you from something so painful. So it collapses, and it can never be rebuilt. During this brutal disconnect, you lash out and cause harm to others, maybe. You overfocus on their behavior, unable to recognize your own. After all, this is what you've become accustomed to. You're dependent, needy, desperately latching on to anyone who will hear your story. You become numb to the things that once made you happy, fondly recalling an old self who seemed so much more cheerful. You're indeed a mess. But in which world? As you heal from your wounds, you begin to find peace in the places you haven't explored since childhood. Imagination, spirituality, love. And I mean real love, not the narcissistic, hyper-validating garbage that we craved from a psychopath. You start to fill your void with empathy and compassion, qualities that have been with you since the very beginning. Mindless socializing doesn't do it for you anymore. You seek out deep philosophical conversations with like-minded individuals. You often find that you don't fit into various social settings that you used to enjoy. You become frustrated when people don't understand why topics like psychopathy and empathy are so important. You forget that most people still live comfortably with their worldly guard, as you once did, and therefore remain unaffected by these issues. You struggle to navigate between these two worlds, blaming your difficulty on the two yous. You find that no matter how hard you try, you can never go back to that old self, the person who seemed so much happier and more innocent. But you also start to notice that your interactions with others are becoming much healthier. You've developed boundaries, self-respect, and self-worth. You do not need your worldly guard to be yourself, and that is a strange realization indeed. And with time, you find that you don't need a guard to be happy at all. For once, self-respect actually comes from, well, the self. You see how much this universe has to offer to those who listen. As you become more comfortable with yourself, you see that your trauma did not destroy you. It ripped apart your guard and opened a connection with some other world, with all of humanity. You've not lost your childlike wonder. It's been with you all along. And now you are wise enough to live peacefully in both worlds with joy and wisdom. You can feel the pain of others and therefore create much deeper and more meaningful relationships. You understand what you have is special and cannot be shared with just anyone. You may find peace from listening to the quiet corners of the world. You do not mind time alone, for that is simply time in another world. The most important thing to remember for all trauma survivors: there is nothing wrong with you. You are beautiful. You were thrown into an impossible situation and you survived. Your innocence was taken away without your permission. You were violated. But in this violation, you regained something that takes most people a lifetime to find. Your path may be painful, but it is also special. The universe has different plans for you. Remember, there are others who are permanently barred from any access to the spiritual world. Psychopaths have no place there. And it is why they hate empathetic beings. You are a nagging reminder of something they will never find. They will die here in the material world with no deeper connection to this great universe. Sometimes I believe the spirit world leaks into this one. You can feel it, an overwhelming sadness when it is not your sadness, joy for a friend when it is not your joy, a strange coincidence when two people are thinking of each other. Even through this book, I believe we are all connected. So now imagine these two worlds merging, a place where feelings and compassion are apparent, manifesting themselves for all to see, where our spirits soar together like birds, singing songs of joy. We can see each other's pain, thorny vines wrapped around a troubled soul, the flickering lights in a victim's spirit. But we also see each other's joy, bright colors and glowing lights emanating from our hearts. This would be an incredible world for us, but not for the psychopaths. Because if the worlds merged, it would be a world of empathy where psychopaths cannot exist. So let us work together to bring these two worlds closer, to dismiss darkness and to teach all empathetic human beings that they are beautiful. Never be ashamed of your abuse or of your past. You are here now for a reason, and this is only the beginning. So he goes on to talk about a loss of innocence, and I really feel like so many of us here on this channel, I mean, I know I'm looking, there's only 35 of us here right now, but you know, I really feel like there are so many of us who did have our innocence stolen in one way or another, right? I mean, I'm raising my hand. Hello, Aurora Aquarius. I'm so happy to see you. I know I didn't say hi earlier. Hello, H1 Anna2 Digital. It's great to see you, Helen. So happy to see you. Hey, Kira. So, yeah, a lot of us are raising our hands. Yeah, so I think I would like, if you all would like me to, I'm going to continue and read about the loss of innocence. Um, it'll be for a few minutes, if that's okay with you. I really feel like it's very beneficial. And after that, next week, we're going to talk about freedom. But I do think that talking about the loss of innocence, lots of hands being raised. Kira says, "Hey James, Athena was looking for you last week. I was only looking for him to say hi to him. I was just taking inventory, noticing who was here and who wasn't. So I was just saying hi to you, James. That's all." Yeah, lots of us are raising our hand. Oh no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, James. What I was saying is, hey, has anybody seen James the Provider? I was hoping everything was going well at school. That's all. Poppy says, I find it impossible to even tolerate the idea that I ever had innocence for some reason. Oh, Miss Poppy. Hello, have a nice day. Wonderful to see you. Helen was listening while she was in the taxi. Oh, that's cool. You're so welcome. Yeah, I think I'm going to read this. Oh, no, it's okay, Kira. Um, um, Tabby says, I can't find the hand, but yeah. I know. I don't know where the little hand emoji is either. Hey guys, James the Reviver got an A in one of his classes and an A in another class with the final B in the last grade. Woo woo! High fives. That's so cool. Oh, Stacy's kitty cat is meowing outside. So I think reading about the loss of innocence is going to be. I know John Harvey says, I sometimes wonder what having innocence was really like. I you know, Poppy and John Harvey, I resonate deeply with what you've shared. I really do. I really do. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and read this. I really think that it would be beneficial for us. And again, you all, I think that, for some of us, some of this won't match up. It won't feel safe. It won't feel like it resonates with us. It won't feel like it's congruent with the place we're in, or what we've experienced in our own our own time in these relationships. I'm so sorry, Vi. Vi says, I can't even remember I had innocence. I was so little. Yeah, me too. I don't remember. I don't have a in-body experience of innocence. I mean, by faith, I believe that I did have that. By faith, I believe that I did have innocence at some point. Um, Congratulations, James. Seriously, that's amazing. There's lots of high fives and congratulations and support for you in the chat box for sure. Yeah, Aurora says we're all born innocent. Yeah, we're all born with this innocent, pure, clean, white as snow hard drive, and then the abusers implant this horrible malware, Trojan horse viruses on all this weird, horrible software and viruses and malware onto our beautiful, clean, pristine hard drive. And it is such a crime and a travesty, and none of us deserved it. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to read what Jackson McKenzie has to say about the loss of innocence. And I'm excited for next week. We're going to talk about freedom. We're going to talk about looking back and moving forward. We're going to talk about what it means for other people to experience the same type of thing we've experienced. We're going to talk about introspection and insecurities. You know, it'll be great. Yeah, Jeffrey Sherman said we needed a firewall and antivirus software. That's what we're installing now. Like, I believe that us coming together as often as we do is like installing a a really powerful firewall and antivirus software. Yes, yes. Protection. Exactly, Shanna. Yes, I agree with Farrell, Vi. It is so sad and it is miraculous that you have risen above all this. Yes, Kira, I agree. Kira says we're all born innocent, for sure. Vi says we are all amazing warriors. Yes, we are. Oh, that's a beautiful seashell, Shannon. I love that beautiful blue seashell. Okay, so I'm going to read about the loss of innocence, and then next week we'll talk about freedom, okay? So if this video ends up being helpful for you, or you think it might be helpful for someone else, thank you so much for being here. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Please consider giving this video a thumbs up, or just voting thumbs up or thumbs down. If this video was helpful or for you or someone, then a thumbs up vote. Or if you hated this video for whatever reason, then you can vote thumbs down. But I really appreciate all the thumbs up. It really helps YouTube to know that that we are putting out information out there so that other survivors can find the help that they need. So, um, so here we go. So Jackson McKenzie talks about the symptoms of loss of innocence. Here we go. Don't miss this, okay, you all? Profound sadness, mourning, loneliness, acceptance, seeing the world in a different way, hope, accidental wisdom. Accidental wisdom. Mm. There's a difference between sadness and depression. Depression is hopeless, frightening, and mind numbing. But sadness is beautiful, the gentle moment when your spirit prepares itself for a fresh start. When you begin to feel real sadness, it's a sign that you're reaching the light at the end of the tunnel. Instead of devastating emptiness and upsetting triggers, your heart is ready to make one last transition. You're done mourning the loss of your soulmate. Instead, you're finally ready to mourn for yourself. And again, you can move these puzzle pieces around so that they can, fit your situation if we're talking about a family member, okay? Perhaps it wasn't your soulmate, perhaps it was your brother or your cousin or your grandma or your mom or your dad. You go from a perpetual state of thinking about someone else to suddenly thinking about what you lost during all of this. And most survivors find that they've lost a lot. They've lost friendships, money, career, opportunities, self-esteem, health, and dignity. Fortunately, these losses can all be reversed. You find that as you return to your roots, all these things fall back into place. Some will even improve, especially friendships and relationships. And I'm going to pause there and say, for those of you who can't return to your roots because all of this happened within the context of your family of origin, please just know that you will create beautiful, healthy friendships, and you will be able to cultivate wealth in your life and make money and create new career opportunities for yourself. You will find a way to experience self-esteem and health and dignity. I promise you. I am living proof that this can happen because I was not in a situation where I could go back to my roots. Okay? He goes on to say, but I'm on page 176, but there's one thing you'll never be able to get back, and that is your innocence. Keep in mind that innocence has nothing to do with ignorance or naivety. It's simply the well-intentioned belief that all human beings have some good in them. The trust and love that you wholeheartedly gave to someone else. That is innocence. Moving forward, you'll never see the world like that again. That's not to say you're now hypervigilant and jaded. It just means that you're going to view the world and the people around you in a more realistic light. Instead of automatically projecting your own goodness onto others, you let their actions speak for themselves. You see, this is not at all a bad thing. It is just sad at first because you can never know you're losing your innocence until it's actually gone. Many survivors find that they didn't really know how to express sadness or anger throughout most of their lives. They were instead expected to be a cheerful servant to everyone around them. And so they developed this stubborn light in their hearts that always sought to see the best in everything, no matter how much the evidence pointed to the contrary. But you will come to see that the psychopath is something that your heart can never light up, and you will try. That is what cognitive dissonance is all about. For months, you oscillate between the idealization and devaluing phases, trying to understand which one was real. You reasoned that, of course, they loved you because they said this or they did that. But then you looked at their actions, which did not at all reflect their words. You know intuitively that love is not insulting, criticizing, cheating, and lying. Love does not make you feel suicidal. Love does not mock you for having hurt feelings. And so, the more you thought about it, the angrier and more depressed you got. The light inside of you began to fade away as this person consumed your every thought. The light could not transform their behavior, so instead it started to absorb it, growing dimmer every day. As time went on, you felt profound rage and an emptiness that you'd never felt in your life. Throughout most of the process, you probably didn't even know how to express it. So on the outside, you remain this happy person that everyone expected and needed. You wouldn't want to inconvenience everyone with your feelings. But deep down, something was changing. The light was almost out. And suddenly, you found yourself feeling very resentful and irritated with many people, people you thought were your friends. After each interaction, you'd return home and find yourself reflecting for hours on what had just taken place. Who was that? Wasn't you? You didn't truly believe the things you were saying, and you certainly held no respect for the gossip and insults they so adored. Suddenly your light isn't justifying it all away as humor anymore. You're just left with the cold reality that you've surrounded yourself with some very unkind people. You're left as a drained battery that's still expected to fuel a rocket. Your energy is broken. You want to automatically love everyone like you used to, but you can't. Unkindness and superficiality frustrate you when they never did before. For a long time, you probably remembered the psychopaths so fondly, not because they were a good person, but because of your own light. You were rewarded every single day for denying the bad and glorifying the mediocre. You now associate that relationship with your light, but that does not mean they actually made you happy. It means your innocence made you happy because it was protecting your very gentle heart. The ability to distinguish your innocence from genuine happiness is essential in your healing process. Simply because you once felt euphoric with the psychopath and with friends who frequently insulted you does not mean that life was actually great at the time. Likewise, just because you feel sadness now does not mean that your life is somehow bad. On the contrary, things are looking brighter than ever before. You are just struggling to enjoy the world without your light. But you don't have to. Your light never left you. It's just waiting. Yes, it's a bit shy right now, but as you begin to develop your self respect and your boundaries, the light will flicker back on. And as you explore your love and spirituality, the light will return stronger than ever. So many survivors long to go back to a time when life was normal and happy. But how much of that was ever really real? How much of that time did you spend desperately trying to replace the negative with positive? How much of it was projection while other people were busy projecting their own poison onto you? When your light fades, especially after a trauma like this, it becomes far more difficult to keep projecting goodness onto others. So I believe that you do not truly miss your past, but instead you miss the light you associated with it. One thing I've noticed about every member on psychopathfree.com is that none of them want to feel this darkness, not a single one. They do not want to be victims. They want to recover happiness and joy. They feel a burning anger about being angry in the first place. They've practiced forgiveness throughout their entire lives only to be confronted with the most unforgivable experience of a psychopath. Why? Why? What was the point? Why did their identity need to be destroyed like this, leaving them so incredibly broken and drained? With time, you will find your own answers to these questions. Your innocence was a beautiful gift, but the paradox was that you never knew you had it. This was why you tended to pour so much of your love and affection into other human beings, because you hadn't yet felt that love for yourself. Through the healing process, you make that final leap. As uncomfortable as it may be, you find self respect and begin creating healthy boundaries. Instead of trying to fit it in with Instead of trying to fit in with others, you find yourself wondering why people don't behave more like you. Empathetic, compassionate, loving, outgoing, creative, easygoing, responsible, caring. The gentle souls who walk this earth and touch it only with kindness. When your light is gone, you can no longer use it to fix all the broken things around you. So, in its place, you begin to surround yourself with people who actually share and appreciate your most wonderful qualities. And you can't discover all that magic until your innocence is gone, giving you an opportunity to see the world as it truly is, seeing you as you truly are. This journey is about you, and it always has been. Once you discover this, you are finally ready to fly free. So, we're going to talk about freedom next week. It's kind of exciting. Yeah, Stacy says my thoughts. Stacy's speaking my thoughts right now. She says, Farrell, I still can't believe people have no empathy. I mean, I believe it, but wow, why? Farrell says factory defect. Exactly. Hey, Joey. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. Oh, Joey says, hi, everyone. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. I've been struggling really bad, but I thought I would stop in and say hello. Hashtag family. You are. You are a part of our family, Joey. We love you, and we're so, so, so sorry that you're having a hard time, and we're very happy to see you. Very happy to see you. Hey, Joey, I was doing a inventory. I was telling the family about how I've been cleaning my because we sold our house, right? A couple years ago. And we moved from a 4-bedroom house into a 1-bedroom apartment. And so we got rid of like all of our belongings pretty much, except for like, boxes and boxes and boxes of, things that you think you need. And, I have several huge Rubbermaid bins filled with baby pictures of my son and art projects that he created and, school projects. And it was like, I don't know. It just I can't at all get rid of any of it because it just brings me so much joy to remember him. To remember him as a baby and to think about him and just how sweet he was and I mean how sweet he still is, but still I just can't but besides me keeping all these Rubbermaid bins filled with pictures of my son, which is totally fine, right? I have all these piles of things and stuff I brought with me from the mainland to Hawaii when I moved here 13 years ago. Like stuff I don't even use, but I've just always had it. And so I've kept it. So, anyway, Joey, I found that beautiful white teddy bear angel that you sent me. It was up on my bookcase for I don't know the last couple years, and then I put it in one of my little drawers because it was getting dusty, and I put it in with my little strawberry shortcake gift that one of our community members sent me, the little strawberry shortcake doll. And anyway, my little teddy bear angel is nice and clean now and ready for whatever I decide. Um, whatever I decide that I'm going to do with her. I don't really know what I'm going to do with her. I have her with my little strawberry shortcake and my little emoji pillow that someone sent me and my little Peeps bunny. Because you all call me your peeps. You all are my peeps and I'm your peeps. And so I have a little Peeps bunny. And then I have a little this cute little, I don't know, I think it's a little baby chick or something. And then I have one of those yellow emoji pillows that one of you all sent me, the laughing one that I always type, the one that looks like this. And then what else? Gosh, just little stuffies, little stuffed animals. Oh, Stacy says, random question. Does anyone know how to wash a stuffed animal? You know what I have been doing, Stacy, because I didn't want all this. They were very dirty because they were up on my shelf. Um, I've just been sort of using dish soap and like you know, under the faucet, and then I just let it dry. I mean, I have a hair dryer, but it's really warm where I live. Oh, Shanna says she puts them in the washer. I've been spot cleaning just because I don't know. I was afraid to put them in the washing machine, but maybe that'll work. I've just been washing them by hand, I guess. Oh, Ann Austin says, put it in a pillowcase on delicate. That is brilliant. Yeah, I've been giving him a bath, Vicky. I've been just putting them under the sink, just sort of washing them real delicate. But Vi says throw them in the bathtub. Yeah. Um, Farrell says, what do you mean, like in an intimate relationship, is worse to have to divide between actions and words? Explain. Ooh, I missed that question. John says, I used to think that I was on the autism spectrum. Those that lack empathy didn't choose to be that way. Most people without it don't know they are missing it and would love to be able to get it. Huh. Yeah. I don't know enough about autism or the spectrum to be able. I I have a friend who has a child who's autistic. In fact, she has twin boys who are on the autism spectrum. Um, yeah, I'm guessing they do. They probably do wish um, that they had autism or that they had empathy. Kira says she has a menagerie of stuffed animals, a plethora even. Heck yeah. Farrell says that is awesome, Kira. I support you and your plushies. Me too. I support that 1000%, Kira. Heck yes. So you all, we're going to talk about freedom next week. We're going to talk about freedom, and I think it would be really, really, really good for us to just sort of, I mean, cognitive dissonance has a way of wearing us down, you know? The freedom we experience after coming out of the abuse, Angela. Yes, yes, yes. Joey says, I know that sounds silly. What sounds silly? Oh, here we go. Joey says, my trauma therapist that I have seen for almost a year now got another job, and last week was my last session, and I just feel abandoned. Oh, no. Oh, Joey, I'm so, so sorry. And by the way, it doesn't sound silly at all. It doesn't sound silly at all. Joey, we have a weekly book club. Right now, we're going through a book called Don't Try This Alone by Kathy Browse, and it's all about attachment trauma. And, when we feel abandoned, it's a very real thing that triggers something from a very young place in us. You're welcome to join us. It's every single Saturday. Go on the website here. Let me see. I don't know the exact link on the website. So here, Joey, go here. go there and click on book club or healing book club. And or you might even be able to go to here, healingbookclub.com. That might work as well. And you can sign up. I think it's only $5 a month. And there's even a scholarship if you can't afford $5 a month. We might be able to scholarship you in, although we have a whole bunch of scholarship applications that came in, and we're reviewing them in the month of August, and we'll be welcoming new people in. So yeah. The book, the reason I mention it, Joey, is because the book Don't Try This Alone by Kathy Browse talks a lot about attachment trauma, and it's a great book. So yeah. So anyhow, next week we're going to talk about freedom. We're going to continue in Jackson McKenzie's book called Psychopath Free. He says you can free your spirit with the very same imagination you once used to imprison it. With this knowledge, you take full responsibility for the person you're about to become. And what it means is, when you're in an abusive relationship, in adulthood. Poppy says each thought and belief needs to be able to stand on its own within a healthy, positive mindset and worldview. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, Poppy. Freedom. I'm thinking of Braveheart with Mel Gibson back in the day. I'm dating myself, right? I'm really dating myself. It's a good movie though. Poppy says to effect change and healing, you must learn to interrogate and reject your thoughts and beliefs, even those you are convinced keep you safe, or at least safer, throughout your childhood. Yeah, absolutely. Kira says, Joey, please do join us. Yes, yes, yes. Kira says, Joey, I would feel abandoned also. Yeah. Joey says, awesome, thanks. I will check it out. I hope you do join us. That would be amazing. Yeah, Braveheart. Freedom. Ooh, Vi says, thanks for sharing. Tomorrow I see my therapist for more of this detaching from my brother and grieving. Ooh, that's a hard thing. That is a hard thing, Miss Vi. I'm holding a space for you and praying for you and just sending you lots of love. Take care, everyone, says James the Reviver. Take care of you, James. And good luck on your test. I hope you get an A. Hope you get an A on Wednesday. High fives to you. Anyone seen Malta? I hope Malta's doing well. If anybody sees Malta, say hi. Poppy says, can you tell I'm literally working through cognitive dissonance in therapy? That's awesome. Oh, that's a good thing to work through, though. Joey says, I need to do something, Kira, because I need to get out of the depression, trying not to cry and grieve, but so far it's not working out too well. Well, that's because you're trying not to cry and grieve. Sometimes we need to embrace, we have to feel all our feels if we're ever going to heal. Miss Joey, if we're ever going to heal, we got to feel all the feels, and that means grief as well. And if we try not to cry and we try not to grieve, then we will stay stuck and we will feel emotionally constipated. How's that for a visual? Vice says, what you read was really powerful. It was really good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Miss Vi. You deserve to heal. Aurora says, good night, everyone. Farrell says, glad you're actively getting support. I hate to think if you had not found this therapist, really thinking about you so much, Vi. Yeah. Vi says, crying and grieving is part of the process, a sign of strength, not weakness, Joey. Absolutely. Poppy says, you're essentially sitting with years or decades of ignored emotions. All you need to do is listen and respond only with kindness. You do not need to judge or analyze what is going on. Instead, simply welcome these feelings. Let them in. Jackson McKenzie. Thank you, Miss Poppy. I'm sending each of you so much love. I can't wait for next week. It's going to be fantastic. Talking about freedom. We're going to look back and then we're going to move forward. Boom. So I'll be starting off on page 183 and we'll see how far we get. Oh, Miss Vi, we love you so much. We see you. We hear you. You matter. So, so, so happy you were here tonight. Farrell says, it's okay to not be okay. Absolutely. You're so welcome, Miss Tracy. Yeah. Kara says, yes, feel to heal. Absolutely. And you know what healing says? Healing says, you are worth it. I will end with that. You all are so dear to me. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for enriching my life. Thank you for allowing me to be in your life. And I look forward to seeing you next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday. And we'll talk about freedom. Oh, Joey, thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part of our family. Good night, everybody. Be kind and gentle with yourselves, okay? Sending you so much love.